Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all very much for coming. My name is Michael Hastings. I'm the president of the Burbank Police Foundation, and we are very excited to have so many people here. Part of the other problem was we had to set up extra tables because so many more people RSVP'd in the 11th hour. So I'd like to thank the people at Pickwick Gardens for being as quick on their feet as they were. And obviously that's the work of Ron Stavert. I think Ron is here. Ron, thank you very much, who runs this whole operation with the bowling and the ice skating and the Pickwick Gardens. We're all standing on the pool, I have a feeling, if you remember the history here. But thank you to the people at Pickwick Gardens. This is our second annual awards luncheon. We'd like to thank you all for coming, and so without further ado, I'd like you to all stand and remain standing for the presentation of the colors by the Burbank Police Color Guard.
Uniform personnel, attention! Honor guard, present arms.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Place your hands over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor guard. Order! Arms! Post the colors!
Thank you very much to the Burbank Police Department Color Guard. And now if I could bring up the police chaplain, Father Jose Pouch from St. David's Anglican Church.
Thank you, sir. Certainly. If you would bow your heads with me, please, let's ask the Lord to be here with us. Father, we are so ever grateful to you for everyone that is here. I thank you, Father, for the city of Burbank. My Father, I thank you for the men and women who live and work and serve here in this great city. I especially, my Father, ask you your blessing, your grace, your mercies, and your protection, Father, over the men and women that serve in our police department, both the officers and the lay people. We are grateful, Father, for hearts that give themselves to serve others. Father, we learn to serve from you, for you serve us. Let your protection be over all these men and women, Father. Just blanket their department and everything they do with your grace. We thank you for them. We thank you for their bravery. We thank you for their courage. My Father, in the name of your Son, Jesus, we say thank you for all of your blessings upon this city. We glorify you always. Amen.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you, sir.
You may be seated. Thank you very much. I'd like to do a quick commercial for the Burbank Police Foundation. We are a foundation that was formed a few years ago, basically to help promote all the goodness of the Burbank Police Department and for the community to show their gratitude, and that's an important word, their gratitude for all the work that's done by these men and women. I think it's very important for all of us to recognize that we're here, we're safe. Burbank is a very important place for an awful lot of big businesses and our medical center. And it's very important for all of us to recognize the fact that it's because of the Burbank Police Department and the Fire Department and all of our city services that make it such an attractive place to live. The Police Foundation will be continually growing. We're growing slowly, and I'm sure you've seen us through the Hoof and Woof, and we've done a few other things throughout the community. The Matt Pavelka Scholarship, which is very near and dear to all of our hearts. But we'd like you to please keep paying attention to us. We do have a website. I'm sure it's inside of your brochure, but the Burbank Police Foundation is very grateful to you for being here and for supporting us. Joining me this afternoon in this event is the Board of Directors, who we can't do any of this without the Board of Directors for the Burbank Police Foundation. Would they all please stand? Please stand, Board of Directors. Thank you all. Also, because he's already stood up, but we'll make him stand up again, joining me on the dais this afternoon is Police Chief Scott LaChaz and today's Master of Ceremonies, radio journalist Jim Roop, and a Burbank guy. The Chief is joined today in the audience by his command staff. We have Deputy Chief Mike Albanese, Captain Ron Caruso, Captain Dennis Cremens, Captain Armin Domengian, and Police Administrator Josephine Wilson. Round of applause for all of them, please. I'd like now to welcome to the podium the Burbank Police Chief, Mr. Scott LaChaz.
Good afternoon, and welcome to our distinguished guests, fellow Burbank Police Foundation board members, many community supporters, staff, and honorees. At this time, I ask that we salute and applaud the dedication and selflessness of our many, many behind-the-scenes exceptional volunteers who have worked for months to make this great afternoon a reality. So let's all give them a hand. And I do that because if we asked them to stand, they would be out the door. Thank you. Today we honor several sworn and non-sworn police personnel, community members, and a police department volunteer for acts of valor, life-saving efforts, exceptional service and assistance, innovation, as well as compassion. Despite the nature of the act or service that resulted in the awards being presented today, each award recipient has demonstrated a very important attribute, that is selflessness. Selflessness or selfless service is not restricted to volunteers, sworn and non-sworn public servants, or to community members. I would like to demonstrate how all of our honorees and how all of us here today can and do engage in selfless practices by citing passages from a diverse group of notable individuals that we all know. The first one is Albert Schweitzer, a philosopher, a physician, a missionary. I have three quotes that I think are very appropriate. The purpose of human life is to serve and show compassion and the will to help others. I don't know what your destiny will be, but one thing I do know. The only ones among you who will be really happy are those that have sought and found the will to serve. The third quote, success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you are doing, you will be successful. And I think it's noteworthy to repeat something that I find that he truly was a selfless person, but he won the Nobel Peace Prize years ago. And with that, you get an amount of money. He didn't keep that money. That money underwrote the founding of a leper colony. A more contemporary person, Celia Matthew Burwell. She is the current Secretary of Health and Human Services in the United States. Previously, she was the president of the Walmart Foundation and the president of Global Development for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and very appropriate. Day after day, ordinary people become heroes through extraordinary and selfless actions to help their neighbors. A quote from a United States Army manual about selfless service. In serving your country, and I have inserted, or your community, you are doing your duty loyally without thought of recognition or gain. The basic building block of selfless service is the commitment to each team member to go a little further, endure a little longer, and look a little closer to see how he or she can add to the effort. The Dalai Lama. Our prime purpose in life is to help others. Audrey Hepburn. It's that wonderful old-fashioned idea that others come first and you come second. Because of the issues and challenges we face today in our local communities and in our nation, I have focused on selflessness and selfless service as something we should all aspire to do daily. As Martin Luther King Jr. once said, everyone can be great because everyone can serve. I salute each and every one of our award recipients, as well as each person in this room, for your individual and collective selflessness. May we now formally honor those special individuals who have dignified themselves in our community by their selflessness and selfless service. Onward and upward. Thank you.
I think one of the important things that's being brought up today is excellence. And so much of what the Burbank Police represents is excellence. And the people that we're going to be recognizing today are examples of that. And part of the reason that we're here is because there's so many people that represent us in this area that we also have to give thanks for their excellence in paying attention to Burbank and also making sure that Burbank has what it needs to supply what the Burbank Police Department needs. I'd like to introduce a few of the dignitaries that are here today, and please hold your applause till the end because it's quite a long list or we wouldn't get out of here. We have Mayor Bob Frutos from the City of Burbank, Vice Mayor Jess Talamantes, Council Member Will Rogers, and former Mayor Mary Lou Howard. We can clap for all of them. Interim City Manager Ron Davis, Assistant City Manager Justin Hess, City Treasurer Debbie Kukta, City Clerk Zizette Mullins, City Attorney Amy Albano. Amy, just want to make sure I didn't forget you this time. Burbank Public Library Service Director Elizabeth Goldman. Burbank Fire Chief Tom Lenahan and Burbank Fire Battalion Chief Ron Barone. How about a round of applause for that batch? Great people. Burbank Police Commissioner Hakup Hergerlian, former police commissioners Nat Rubenfeld and Rick Warmack, and from our Burbank Unified School District Superintendent Matt Hill. How about a round of applause for Matt? He's done a great job with the school district. Thank you, Matt. Crossing the moat today, joining us from Glendale, we have Glendale Police Chief Robert Castro, Glendale Deputy Chief Carl Povolatis, Glendale Captain Stuart Bracklin, Glendale Commander Teresa Goldman, and representing the Los Angeles County Probation Commissioner Don Meredith. We're also very pleased to partner with county, state, and federal elected officials today who have provided each honoree with a beautiful certificate of recognition for a job well done. Please join me in welcoming U.S. Congressman Brad Sherman, represented by Matthew Valencia, State Assembly Member Mike Gatto, represented by either Maya Pallone or Nicole Fozier. I'm not sure which one of you came. Nicole? You didn't look like a mayor, but that's fine. And LA County Board of Supervisors Mike Antonovich, represented here by Catherine Barger. Catherine, are you here? We'd also like to thank the offices of Carol Liu, who was not able to attend. However, we do have here from Congressman Adam Schiff's office, Pamela Marcel. Also, last but not least, another former, like so many of us in the room here, Anthony Portanino, who is a former state assembly member who has served the assembly so diligently over the years. Thank you very much for coming, Anthony. How about a round of applause for all of these folks? You know, these don't happen without the support of the community. We'd not be able to honor all of our terrific police department awardees without your generous help. I would like to take a moment and recognize our gold sponsors: Burbank Police Chief Scott Lachaz, Burbank Police Captain Dennis Cremens, Cusimano Real Estate Group, Los Angeles Equestrian Center, Rubenfeld Family Limited Partnership, Smith, Mandel and Associates, the Walt Disney Company, and Walmart. Those are our gold sponsors. Thank you very much. In addition, you'll find in your brochure many other sponsors listed in the program and on the screen. So for all of you, whatever degree of sponsorship that you are here, we do thank you from the bottom of our hearts as the foundation, because for only being a second year, it's a tremendous showing from all of you. So from our foundation board, we'd like to applaud you. Thank you very much. Is Janice Lowers here? Janice, would you stand up? Janice is a retired Burbank Police Captain, Lieutenant, General, whatever she was. She is being honored by the Family Services this year at our Care Walk, which is April 29th. And she's just such a tremendous community service person, giving back, but we thank you for also serving in the Burbank Police Department, but you've never gone away, and we're very happy about that. Thank you, Janice. Well, today we'd like to appreciate and show all of our appreciation to all of the many sworn and non-sworn men and women who keep the Burbank Police Department running smoothly. Their outstanding efforts keep Burbank safe 24/7. And now I'd like to really, the very important part is about to come, and these are the important people that we're here to honor. But it's my honor to introduce the Master of Ceremonies for this afternoon, longtime Burbank resident Jim Roop. Jim is an accomplished radio broadcaster and journalist who is driven by an incredible passion for self-expression. He has been the recipient of 11 Golden Mike Awards, which is Southern California's most prestigious and coveted broadcast journalism prize. I said 11 Golden Mike Awards. That's fantastic. We here just for that. In addition, he's received 2 Peabody Awards, which recognizes distinguished achievement and meritorious public service. We appreciate Jim from taking time away from his job as a radio correspondent for Westwood One News. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Jim Roop. Jim.
I'm a little shorter. There we go. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I was telling the chief that I've been in this city for more than 20 years, and I've never really met a police officer. I guess that's a good thing. In fact, he said, well, that's a good thing. Although I did today because I was running a little late, so I was pushing the speed limit a little bit. An officer pulled me over, and he looked at my license, my media parking placard in the car. He said, oh, a media guy speeding. I've been waiting for you all day. I said, gee, officer, I got here as quick as I could. I'll wait for that to get. It is truly an honor to be a part of this important event, one that recognizes the hard work and contributions of the men and women of the Burbank Police Department, as well as the citizens and community members of Burbank. Over the next 6 hours, over the next hour, you will hear stories of courage, bravery, professionalism, and honor. it is my honor and privilege to share these stories with you. They are stories that have impacted lives, stories that have changed lives, and stories about saved lives. These are the stories behind the second annual presentation of the Burbank Police Foundation Awards. We begin with the Police Star, an award given for bravery or heroism above and beyond the normal demands of duty. On January 6, 2015, Officer Cameron Brown was the first officer to arrive on a call of a house fire on the 1700 block of Landis Street. He saw smoke billowing from the front door of that residence, and he quickly learned that there was an elderly female inside the home, unable to move. Officer Brown entered the home and called out to the woman. He heard a faint response, which was enough to lead him through a thick layer of smoke. Officer Brown found the woman in the kitchen and guided her out of her home to safety. Officer Brown's bravery and heroism outweighed the obvious risks and hazards posed by that fire. It is with great pleasure that we present Officer Cameron Brown with the Police Star Award. Now, this next story also involves a house fire. On the afternoon of July 20th, 2015, Detective Todd Burke and Officer Cody Roberts responded to the 1300 block of Chandler Boulevard. When they arrived, Detective Burke and Officer Roberts saw that the inside of a single-family house was completely overtaken by thick black smoke and saw flames to the rear of the house. Voices could be heard coming from the inside. Detective Burke and Officer Roberts lay on their stomachs, called into the house for the occupants to come toward them and exit. They saw an older man on his belly crawling back toward the kitchen. Detective Burke and Officer Roberts quickly grabbed the man's ankles, pulled him out of the house to safety. Despite this rescue, female voices could still be heard coming from inside. So Detective Burke and Officer Roberts crawled toward the kitchen. They found two women, one of which was 90 years old. Officer Roberts took the elderly woman under his arms, while Detective Burke took the other woman's arm, escorting both of them out of the house to safety. A structure can be replaced. A human life, as we all know, cannot. Thanks to the extraordinary efforts and brave actions by Detective Burke and Officer Roberts, 3 family members were safely reunited moments after being faced with a life-threatening emergency. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Detective Todd Burke and Officer Cody Roberts, recipients of the Police Star. In law enforcement, one of the most difficult investigations police officers can face is one that involves a child victim. In October of 2012, Sergeant Celia Hawver, then a detective, was assigned to investigate a case of child abuse. The victim, a 5-week-old baby girl, suffered severe head injuries as a result of shaking. Sadly, the baby died just days later. The focus of Sergeant Hawver's investigation was to bring justice to this little girl and find out exactly what happened to her. Sergeant Hawver remained composed and professional as she interviewed both parents, even though this was proving to be the most difficult investigation of her career. After a lengthy and difficult interview, the father of this little baby confessed to shaking her violently on several occasions. He was arrested, ultimately charged with murder. Police officers themselves are husbands and wives. They are mothers and they are fathers. It takes a true professional to set aside personal feelings for the purpose of conducting criminal investigations and bringing justice to victims. From start to finish, Sergeant Hawver demonstrated this professionalism in an exceptional manner. It is my pleasure to present Sergeant Celia Hawver with the Burbank Police Department Professional ESTEEM Award. Little behind-the-scenes note, don't you love watching Ross Benson work? He's choreographing the entire video shoot. It's awesome. That's a professional photographer there. Effective law enforcement relies heavily on support from the community. Oftentimes, the success of a criminal investigation is a direct result of working in partnership with citizens like us. In November of 2014, a robbery occurred in Burbank where a large amount of money was stolen. The investigation was very involved. While following up on a lead in Van Nuys, detectives located a large safe believed to be connected to the crime. Unfortunately, they did not have the means or proper tools to open the safe. Working at a nearby business were citizens Dexter Johnson and Michael Vanleeuwen. They saw that detectives were having trouble getting into the safe. Mr. Johnson and Mr. Vanleeuwen provided welding tools and a blowtorch and opened the safe for investigators. Inside, numerous pieces of incriminating evidence were found, helping to link the suspects to the crime. Mr. Johnson and Mr. Vanleeuwen's willingness to assist detectives played a very important role in that investigation. Please join me in recognizing and appreciating Dexter Johnson and Michael Vanleeuwen.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
This next story is one about two complete strangers who came together to save the life of another. On March 13th, 2015, David Vulturo was involved in a serious motorcycle accident here in Burbank. The collision resulted in David's leg being nearly severed. A short distance away, Dr. Edwin Mirzabegi was working in his medical office when he heard the collision. At the same time, Brennan Maxwell, a former Boy Scout, was parking his car nearby when he saw David being ejected from his motorcycle. Dr. Mirzabegi and Brennan rushed to the scene. They both tended to David and provided emergency first aid. Dr. Mirzabegi removed his belt, used it as a tourniquet on David's leg to stop the excessive bleeding. Meanwhile, Brennan used a handkerchief and applied it to David's lower leg, also as a tourniquet. Once paramedics arrived, Dr. Mirzabegi provided them with information and instructions to have David transported to a trauma center. Dr. Mirzabegi's and Brennan's quick actions, knowledge, and selflessness helped to save David's life and leg that day. Not only are we here to recognize these two extraordinary men, but also David himself. David has joined us this afternoon to share in this moment and express his appreciation. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome David Vulturo. Brennan Maxwell could not be here today, but please help me recognize Dr. Edwin Mirzabegi. A bravery is not always a display of heroics or a life-saving act. For those of you who have visited the Empire Shopping Center in Burbank, you know how large of a property it is. In fact, it is so large, it was the perfect backdrop for a social media flash mob frenzy known as Krispy Kreme Tuesdays to invade. Over the past 2 years, these flash mob car gatherings have drawn thousands of people to the Empire Center, causing havoc, traffic congestion, disruptions for business, and safety concerns. In anticipation for yet another flash mob gathering, Wendy Benkoski and Mike McAndrews, both property management representatives for the Empire Center, coordinated efforts with the Burbank Police and Krispy Kreme. They made arrangements to secure the property, to prevent trespassing, even hired extra security. Wendy and Mike's willingness to assist the Burbank Police and their dedication to the community paid off. The Krispy Kreme Tuesday mob decided to relocate. In the end, there were no incidents to report, and many potential issues were avoided. I'm excited to introduce to you Wendy Benkoski and Mike McAndrews, recipients of the Burbank Police Certificate of Appreciation. While that's going on, the recipients of the next 3 awards were not able to join us this afternoon, but their stories are so telling that we did not want them to go unrecognized. On the morning of November 7th, 2015, officers responded to the 1700 block of North Rose Street regarding a family being held against their will inside their home. The suspect, a lone gunman, armed with an assault weapon and body armor, was despondent, threatening to harm his wife and her family, as well as police officers. Diana Caamal was one of the family members in that home that morning. When the suspect came distracted, she quickly told the suspect's wife to hide in a closet and call 911. Diana then raced to a bedroom and had another family member exit the rear of the house with 5 young children. Diana's husband, Joe Caamal, knew of the dangers that lie ahead for police officers that were responding. As officers approached on foot, Joe managed to escape and ran toward the officers, warning them of those dangers. This allowed officers to retreat, reposition themselves, and formulate a tactical plan. Their plan ultimately led to the safe release of the hostages and surrender of the suspect. Diana and Joe's quick thinking, bravery, and heroic actions not only saved the lives of their family members, but quite possibly the lives of Burbank police officers. Although they could not be here, it is my pleasure to honor Diana and Joe with the Burbank Police Certificate of Appreciation. Our final Citizen Award this afternoon goes to Angela Ortiz, who unfortunately also cannot be here today. In January of this year, a custom-built bicycle belonging to a 13-year-old child with special needs was stolen from an apartment complex. The bike was valued at over $5,000. The story of the bike theft drew a great deal of media coverage. Angela Ortiz was attentive to that story, and just 5 days after the theft, saw that bicycle leaning against a curb in Los Angeles. Angela called the Burbank Police Department to report that she believed she found the bike. Burbank police detectives responded, verified that it was in fact the stolen bike. The victim's mother was overjoyed, expressed her thanks for the outpouring of support and the quick return of her son's bicycle. Even though she is not here to share this moment with us, Angela's alert observation and involvement is worth our recognition today. She is the recipient of the Burbank Police Certificate of Appreciation. Now, the Burbank Police Department, lucky to have a group of volunteers that work hard in a variety of assignments within the department. Working for free, these volunteers contribute so much to the day-to-day operations. Each year, the Burbank Police Department recognizes one volunteer for their extraordinary efforts and contributions. Police volunteer John Kemmerer joined the department in 2007. Since then, he has devoted thousands of hours to his role as a volunteer. John has worked in the Detective Bureau and Records Bureau, but is best known for his time working the front counter of the police department. John's often the first person to come in contact with members of the public who visit the police station. He always has a smile on his face. He's got one now. Look at that. And represents the department with the utmost professionalism. And John has donated countless hours to help the Burbank Animal Shelter, the annual Hoof and Wolf event, Baker to Vegas, and the city's retired senior volunteer program. and the Burbank Police Officers Association Golf Tournament. John's dedication is selfless and goes above and beyond the standard expectation of a volunteer service. It is my privilege to recognize John Kemmerer as the 2015 Burbank Police Department Volunteer of the Year. The Burbank Police Department also recognizes one civilian employee each year who is not a sworn law enforcement officer. Civilian employees are the backbone of the police department and share in the responsibilities of serving the community of Burbank. Michele Larson joined the Burbank Police Department in 1992. She has worked as a communications operator, data entry operator, police technician, network systems analyst, and in the information technology department. Since 2007, Michele has been a crime analyst and is responsible for tracking and analyzing crime patterns and statistics in Burbank. She's also a leading expert in the computer system, which controls dispatch and patrol operations, as well as records management. Michele has devoted countless hours to upgrading and improving the system and designed a department-wide training curriculum to educate users. Michele is a member of the Women Leaders in Law Enforcement organization and brought that program to the Burbank Police Department, providing employees opportunities to grow professionally and contribute positively to the morale of the department. Michele is an invaluable part of the Burbank Police Department. She has earned the esteem of her colleagues in being named the Non-Sworn Employee of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, Michele Larson. We are on to our final three awards. In years past, the Burbank Police Department recognized one officer who made tremendous contributions to the community. 2015 marked the first year in which not one, but three officers are honored. The quality of their work and recognition from colleagues made it just too difficult to narrow the Officer of the Year award down to one person. The first recipient is Officer Joshua Kendrick, who joined the Burbank Police Department in 2006. He worked patrol for 5 years before being chosen to become a community resource officer in 2011. Officer Kendrick has thrived as a community resource officer. He's organized dozens of community events, often sacrificing his day off in order to attend these events himself. Officer Kendrick always has a positive attitude, brings with him a sense of humor, and is devoted to serving the citizens of Burbank. Officer Kendrick has filled in as the department's press information officer. I love PIOs. And has done so with professionalism and enthusiasm. He's a critical component of the Burbank Police Department recruitment team and has devoted countless hours to attending job recruitment fairs all over Southern California. Throughout his tenure, Officer Kendrick has put forth a great deal of effort in serving the citizens of Burbank and takes great pride in representing the Burbank Police Department. I'd like to introduce to you the first recipient of the 2015 Officer of the Year Award, Officer Joshua Kendrick. Ross Benson carefully orchestrating yet another wonderful photographic moment. He has documented much history in the city of Burbank. Officer Cindy Guillen began her law enforcement career as a police explorer. She became a Burbank police officer in the year 2000 and has worked several assignments, including patrol and parks. Officer Guillen holds a master's degree in criminal justice and has served as a Burbank Police Explorer Advisor, a member of the Uniform Committee, and as a police volunteer coordinator. Since 2011, Officer Guillen has worked tirelessly to bridge the gap between the community and the police department as a community resource officer. She has helped organize events like the National Night Out, Police and Fire Service Day, Shop with a Cop, Coffee with a Cop, Hop on a Cop. No, that's not it. Derek. But much, much more. Officer Guillen has organized and facilitated more than 10 community academy classes in both English and Spanish, and has been responsible for more than 400 graduates from that program. Officer Guillen has been asked on many occasions to act as the department's press information officer for Spanish-speaking media, and has done so with the utmost professionalism. Over the last year, Officer Guillen took a leading role in the development and implementation of the Burbank Police Department recruitment team. As a testament to all her efforts, Officer Guillen is to be promoted to the position of sergeant next week. Hey. And she joins an elite group of women who have attained this position within the Burbank Police Department. Officer Guillen's experience and dedication have earned her the award for Burbank Police Officer of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, Officer Cindy Guillen. Congratulations. Now please join me in a round of applause for all of our award recipients this afternoon. It truly has been such a wonderful afternoon being here to share these stories with you, these stories of bravery, heroism, and professionalism, and recognizing the contributions of the men and women of the Burbank Police Department as well as members of our community. Burbank is such a great city, and to see such support from all of you means so much. On behalf of the Burbank Police Department and the Burbank Police Foundation, I would like to thank each and every one of you, so I'll be coming around to do that in just a minute. Thank you for joining us here today. I hope that you will be back next year when we can once again recognize the people that truly are making differences in our community. Thank you very much.
We have a special recognition award for Jim for doing such a fine job, and since Ross told me I don't have much time, but I'm going to present this to him and then get back to where I'm supposed to be. So Jim, thank you so much on behalf of the foundation. You did an outstanding job. We really appreciate it, and thank you for being such a staple in Burbank.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We need to move to this.
Yeah, right.
See, I know that. We've been doing this the whole day.
There we go.
Could I have another round of applause for Jim Roop, please? Well, while Ross is taking pictures, we try and do this every year to where we get you in and out at a decent time, because how many times have you been to these events where you're hoping it could have been over 45 minutes ago? But again, it's the work of really the foundation committee, but Chris Welker and Nancy Michael, where are you? Chris, and in the very back behind the stands there. Round of applause for them, please. And Chris Welker is a former member of the Burbank Police Department. So again, it shows you these people just want to keep serving and serving and serving, and we appreciate it. And if also, could I have all of those in uniform and sworn officers please stand so that we could give you a round of applause? All the officers of the Burbank Police Department, sworn. Thank you. And all of the volunteers and all of the staff of the Burbank Police Department, if you would please stand. Round of applause, please. You know, one of the things I had mentioned earlier was Ron Stavert, but again, Ron, thank you very much for your hospitality. Everything was great here at Pickwick Gardens. As you can tell, anyone that throws events, not a bad place to do it. The gardens outside are spectacular, so thank you to you and your staff. We really do appreciate it. I think that in saying thank you is not enough for people like the chief. These people give tirelessly of their time. Not only does the chief work all day long, but then when we have our meetings, he's always there, and he doesn't just sit there. He's a contributor, and we really greatly do appreciate him and the Burbank Police Officers Association, who we're partners with, basically. All of the work that they do in the community, we have a lot of synergies that we work together on. And we, at the Burbank Police Foundation, we also do a lot statewide. Whenever an officer is shot and killed or dies in the line of duty, we, on behalf of the foundation, send a check for $500 to that family. These are the things that we do. These are the things that take funding from you. So we really like to thank all of you who continue to contribute, and we'll be also, probably within the next month or so, be interviewing all the fantastic people that will be, or young people that will be applying for the Matthew Pavelka Scholarship Awards. And that is one of the largest scholarships that we give, which is $1,000 per student. And we give one to every single high school student, and every high school, I should say, one student per high school. So these are the things that we do. Stay tuned. We're really upgrading our website. So please, keep us in your prayers, keep the officers in your prayers, because without all of you, we don't have a great department. And without a great department and all of you being here, we can't support these people. So I'd like to thank you all for coming, and please drive home safely and carefully. I'm glad there was no liquor here, so I don't have to say, would the officers leave last? But I'm not going to say that. But I'd like to thank you all for coming, and we will see you next year. It will be our 3rd annual Police Foundation Luncheon. Thank you all, and again, sponsors, thank you very much. And could the Police Star recipients please come back up for Ross? I guess he didn't get enough of you the first time. Drive carefully, all of you.